Today, as I said, I'm sitting with Laduma Ngxokolo. He is the creative director and founder of MAXHOSA Africa, the man that has really conceptualized and been at the helm of this brand. My name is Buima Foko. I'm a seasoned entrepreneur, luxury consultant, as well as a speaker. And I think Laduma, today you really are, for me, epitomizing what this podcast and this platform is about, because we go all over the world and we have conversations on luxury creators, and in particular for Africa. And we are sitting here today to talk about your journey to having become and I'm speaking become because it's done already, and it's to having become a global fashion icon. And I think to me and to us, you are, that title fits. I think it's a title we can no longer escape. We've arrived at this point, and I think we kind of have to project forward. And I hope to, as we get into this discussion, to hear really what it's taken for you to be as bold with the vision as you have been with forcing of things. It would be amiss for me not to formally introduce you. Laduma is a leading fashion designer, an innovator and creative director at the helm of the luxury brand. We no longer refer to it as an African luxury brand. It's purely a luxury brand at this point, MAXHOSA Africa. Established in 2011, the brand draws its inspiration from the Xhosa people of South Africa to make creations informed by its beauty, its culture, its language, and diversity. The design signature pays homage to the ritualistic practices, vibrant colors, and spirited beadworks to inform the unique patterning of the innovative design solutions. His works have shown, locally and internationally, in fashion weeks, and is a celebrated offering a heritage-endowed and evolutionary perspective to fashion. MAXHOSA retails in high fashion districts such as South Africa, London, Paris, Amsterdam, and of course we found residence here in New York. We're going to get into a lot more of that. He's graduated from one of my favorite institutions for fashion, Central St. Martin's in the UK, and has risen to global acclaim with accolades such as the Vogue Italia and being named one of the most influential Africans, something that I think I'm certainly proud to be associated with. Through his work, Laduma is an agent of change, shifting and evolving with the changing times, and further engaging in the dialogue that places culture as a central subject for inspiring the future. Do you believe it when they read this about you, that you've done this?
Sometimes it feels so good to be true, but I don't focus much on such achievements. Things that I'm super proud of are things that people would take for granted. Like, for instance, when people ask me, what is your most proud or best achievement? I always tell them that having someone within my neighborhood buying one of my products full price, no discounts, because getting a nod from someone who is not the same as getting a nod from someone that lives in New York, because someone who's they have an option to or to second doubt you because they know your struggles. They can never unsee the person that you were initially. And abanye, when you told them that I want to be a fashion designer one day, they were like, come on, man, just relax.
Like,
so so I was introduced as Chepetunga within my community, but then I was like, I wanted to break out of the mold of Tunga and study. After studying, I wanted to break out of the mold of being an employed designer. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to break out of the being an entrepreneur mold and be a businessman ultimately. So that has been the journey. That is how it has evolved over the years.
I like how you break that down, because umuntu, people think uvelenje, you're born in New York, right? I love that you break down the process into such a real steps and practical steps to say you were always willing to catapult yourself. You were always willing to develop from this next stage to the next stage to the next stage. And I mean, talk to us, because I think more than a fashion designer, you're a creative. What does that, I mean, we're sitting in the new home here of MAXHOSA in New York. What is your process of creation?
My process of creation is pretty much determined by my spiritual standpoint at a certain time, most of the time. Of course, I do use a pragmatic process of looking at insights of what's selling and what people like the most, and try to innovate around that information. But initially, a theme is something that I come up with. These days, I come up with a theme with my team, but initially I used to come up with a theme purely myself. And then I put a mood board to give a sense of visuals of what I want to create. And then I go and look for references of what I can take and modify and interpret it to the theme that I chose. And then I keep sketching ideas and then try to find the best. Tell you this for free, designing is difficult.
Yeah, because what is the time it takes to put a collection together? Or
it's super difficult.
Yeah,
like, if it was easy,
everybody
would be super easy, like that. And if it was so easy to execute, the world would have been saturated with great design. So that's why fashion houses choose strategically who becomes a creative director.
Yeah.
And then literally when the creative director flops,
the brand tanks.
Literally.
The brand literally
even though
tanks.
the brand was making $5 billion turnover a year.
Yeah.
Like Gucci. Remember when Alessandro Michel left? I think he left 2 years ago.
It always impacts.
Gucci has had a 40% revenue loss.
Jesus.
So that is the spiritual journey that I take when I design.
And in time, that process, I'm sure because you're immersed in culture and you travel a lot, so you're constantly being inspired. How do you filter out the things that are going to become creations or become new seasons and collections versus just some of it letting be?
Yeah. So there's a saying in design that says that the eye has to travel. The more you've traveled, the more your eye gets trained on how certain designs will be perceived by certain markets. Of course, New Yorkers won't react the same way to our designs the way that Joburgers would.
Yeah.
Abantu base Joburg take a piece and wear it at a traditional ceremony, wedding, whatever. But then here, someone would wear it at a
formal occasion
or a festival. Michelle Obama wore it at a book launch.
Yeah.
Some would wear it at Caribbean festival. Some would wear it when they go home in Ghana or Nigeria. So I became versatile over the years.
Yeah.
And understood more customers' needs. But by all means, everything that I see, I try to absorb. I take pictures with my phone. The internet has helped so much now these days.
Yeah.
Because if you Google something, you get like multiple
references of it.
Insights. Instagram has made it so easy.
Because it's literally like a visual diary of people's lives that you're...
people's preferences.
Love that. I've never looked at it that way, actually.
Yeah, so I use it for that a lot. So I screenshot people's pictures.
Yeah.
And like, okay, ladies who are in this age group like these type of things these days, you know? It's a product that's in demand. So I put a spin around that. As you would see, we are big on ready to wear.
Yes.
So most of our clothes are so easy to wear. Like you can pick it off the shelf, wear it, and go straight to an event. So I try by all means to make our clothes easy and versatile. And that is helped by references that I see around the world. And I do go to boutiques. Like, as a designer, I have
Do
to
you
be a
shop a
research.
lot yourself?
I do, actually. I do. I even do buy South African designer brands as
Brands.
well. You know, like Lukanya Mtingi.
Fave.
I still yet to explore others.
Rich
Who
Mnisi.
Great Africa from Cape Town, and a lot of streetwear clothes from the young designers that are they're on the come up. You know,
Unfortunately, there's so much right now. I think.
so many.
I mean, from when you started, I imagine you've seen
Yeah.
like an influx almost. Obviously, the great ones will stand out, but
Yeah.
from when you started, 2011,
There were so many of us in the industry when I started. Some have left the industry. Some have succeeded. Some have not. Some are still on a journey. I believe that you're going to
true.
process is success is not to be rushed. I was not competing against anyone, still not, would never compete against anyone, because art is about individual identity and not about comparing one with another. So that has helped me evolve as well, you know, because I'm not a closed person. I don't close out other designers. I've got great relationships with David Tlale.
Yeah.
And various other industry leaders that are not even only in fashion, music as well. So, yeah.
I mean, you started this brand, and I know you're no longer managing director.
Yes.
You're purely now about the creative and about the works. But what is the process, especially starting off? Because I wanna, for somebody that's watching this or listening, I want them to get practicality from it. You're a family business one. What does that come with? What informed you bringing in family members? And I know, I mean, your sister, she's a designer herself, you know, so they are professionals in their own right. What informed being able to bring them in and then really buying into your vision? Because I think there's also that to say, it goes from you just sewing clothes to actually, wow, this could be something that is compelling and that actually has clout around it. So, you know, what is the thing that has come as the consistency of being able to build a brand and really being able to be ready to hand it over, because you've handed over the business aspect and you've had to expand your vision in other people because you can't now be sewing it yourself or
I didn't even think of a handing over context. But when I started the business, people often don't believe it sometimes. I started as a one-man show. First 5 years of the business. 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15.
one-man
One-man show.
doing the clothes yourself.
I was doing the pieces myself. I decided to start outsourcing because the workload was too much. I was doing sales, accounting, design, everything. Jack of all trades. It helped me a lot, you know, because I got to learn more about other disciplines outside of design.
HR, which I know you
HR.
you mentioned on Friday as cringe.
2015, April, my young sister, Lishu, said to me, hey, don't you want an assistant? Because busy, man. Like, I see you are struggling and to juggle a lot of things. And she got to know about the business because she did PR.
Yeah, media
Nelson
studies.
Mandela University. She was busy with a BTech, the 4th year. So she had to come with a case study. She used a case study of a PR and form a PR strategy for that business case. So she asked me to use my project, my thesis project, which is MAXHOSA, as that, and how it could be marketed to be a profitable business. So she did it, went through it. I was like, yeah,
Now put it to practice.
let's put it to practice.
Yeah.
And at that time, she was just started internship, SAPs, as part of the course that she did. And then she left. After she graduated, she went to business chambers of Port Elizabeth. And after a couple of months, she was like, no, I don't like this job. I think I would add more value to you than what I'm doing here, you know? I was like, yo, I need someone to do admin.
Come through.
She came April, joined. May, my young brother says the same thing. What quit our sister? She quitted her job, joined in. My young brother quitted the job. Following month, joined, and we started operating seriously. So I gave them tutorials on how to do invoices, how to do logistics, how to do sales. So they got a hang of it within a couple of months. And within 6 months, they had the knowledge and insights. 2014, I just happened to win a global scholarship to go study at St. Martin's. I had to leave in August 2015. When I was in the process of leaving, we got a space at the Newtown Junction, South Jersey.
Yeah, that was your first outlet, right?
First outlet. That time, we live in Port Elizabeth, small city.
Is that how you came to Joburg?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They came to Joburg before me. I've never lived in Joburg. But I've never stayed even more than 2 days in Johannesburg. I used to come Jozi, do a fashion show, leave the next day. We said, guys, time for the business to grow now. It's time to pack our bags and leave this city.
Yeah.
When I said so, I'm gone already in Sahla in London as a student to do my master's at St. Martin's. They packed their bags, both of them, and moved to Johannesburg. And they pieced together a store. Bahlanganisa store, Itafile, they went downtown.
Having never done it before.
Yeah, we don't know nothing about Josie. On the phone, him now, yo, get that mannequin, yo, get a table, get that, oh, buy that door, we'll use it as a table, buy that counter.
Yeah.
It was hectic. And we got quite a good space. It was 40 square meters, it was spacious enough to say.
Yeah.
But then we are selling premium quality clothes in Johannesburg. We're selling a brand that is not known by anyone in Jews. Imagine.
Yeah.
So we set up, people started coming Newtown. I think it was called the watershed. There was about 20 tenants.
Yes.
Yeah, we were one of the first.
Not far from the market theater.
We were one of the first to commit there. We were the last one to leave. That market lasted for about 5 years, if not 4. We were one of the first to sign a lease. We were the last standing tenants. People's businesses were dropping one by one, and people were moved out of the space. Of course, it was difficult for people to travel down to Joburg because CBT people were scared. We didn't even know those things.
Who was your market? I mean, you set up this outlet in Newtown.
Yeah.
Who is your market?
Our market was
at that time
was mainly people that were in the creative space.
Okay.
Like film directors.
Oh.
People that worked in radio. And mainly people that were in the fashion space as well. So those were exclusively the people that we attracted.
And what informed your pricing? Because Niakala.
Yeah.
How do you?
I pretty much started in Cape Town. I stayed in Cape Town. I was in and out of Cape Town for 2 years before we opened in Joburg. I used to sell at a boutique called Merchants on Long Street. And I had a first experience. I went to Cape Town for the first time, and I was invited to speak at an international design conference called Design in February 2011. The founder and the owner of Design in would have united called me and said, brother, would you consider coming to speak to 2,000 people and tell them about your business and your thesis project? It was mainly a thesis project at the time. I didn't have a brand name called MAXHOSA. It didn't have prices.
You already had
I didn't have production capacity, nothing. I only had 5 samples when I went to present the thesis project, a design in I presented, people went crazy. Cape Townians went crazy.
Yeah.
I had about 300 orders.
From that?
From that.
Are you in Newtown already at this point?
No. I'm
this is pre.
5 years.
In the 5 years you were on your...
It was 5 years before Newtown. So I pitched, people went crazy. And I didn't know how the fashion business worked, to be honest. All my lecturers were there, proud, because I was, we panelists, because I was the only B.Tech scholar. Everyone was masters, PhD scholars, and they came from Amsterdam, and I was the only local.
But at which point, Laduma, do you realize in that, like, in those formative years?
It was August 2010, during the World Cup.
Yeah.
I knitted my first piece in my house because I had this idea. I was like, I need to come up with an idea that would be groundbreaking. And my thesis project was based on designing clothes for Xhosa initiates. Because me as a Xhosa initiate, I didn't like the clothes that we were wearing because they were too Eurocentric.
Yeah.
They were too Scottish.
Okay.
Yes. The brown and dark color clothes. For me, I was like, I studied fashion.
Like, give me color.
I studied textile design. It doesn't make sense for me to be wearing Western clothes. So that was the whole idea behind MAXHOSA, is to take that and give it a more cultural twist and more hip twist and more high-end twist.
I love that.
Yeah.
So why New York now?
It's been 10 years since we had our first sale coming from the United States. And over the years, we started picking up that most of these sales that are outside South Africa were coming from New York, like specifically New York.
Okay.
And as you know, in New York, stats-wise, has the highest amount of dollar millionaires in the world. So people have access.
Yeah.
So people could trust buying things online.
Then, so you were
with the hope that it will arrive.
So you go from starting your first store to going e-commerce.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
How did you make the decision to go online? Is it during the process of maybe learning the business of fashion, or?
I instantly did know that business was going to be hot online in 2011 when I joined Facebook.
Yeah, ne?
When I joined Facebook, I was like, yo, we are in a digital era now. Yeah. And I want our business to be mainly based in the digital
world
infrastructure. So I opened a Facebook account, the MAXHOSA, opened my personal, I started pushing until my personal account reached a max limit. And then I converted into a page, and then I pretty much disconnected Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I realized that things were moving to Instagram.
So Instagram, yeah.
I joined Instagram, I think 2012, 2011, and then started accumulating a lot of customers from Instagram. Literally, some customers that were here on Friday are people that I met on Instagram.
From day one?
Yeah. They started inquiring. And interesting thing about Instagram is that you find creatives that are running like serious creative business.
Yeah.
And a DM counts as a form of validating that, okay, Laduma is a legit person. I can go to his website, buy, and he's confirmed that the item will arrive.
Mm.
And at that time, logistics were easy because SAA was super efficient, you know. If we get a courier to pick up an item at 1 p.m., next day, 5 p.m., it lands the customer's apartment here in New York.
That's amazing. The cargo side of it.
Yeah, the cargo side. There was, yes, you know, there was a flight coming to New York every day.
You might not realize this, and I wonder if you sit in your quiet moments and recollect that. I mean, what is consistent for me in what you're saying is that you've always been ahead. You've always been innovating. You've always been pioneering.
Yeah.
How does a young boy in the Eastern Cape develop that in a setting that probably, I mean, is not a natural environment to expect such excellence?
Yeah. Actually, I must say our late mother's influence played a big part in that. Our mother, we grew up in a home, we didn't have TV at home. We used to watch TV programs, generations from neighbors. We didn't have a fridge at home. We didn't have a dishwasher or a washing machine. So most of the time was spent reading books. So our mother used to collect Reader's Digest.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, Reader's Digest used to have stories about people. Stories about a guy who was sentenced to 10 years in jail or 25 years in jail by being caught at the airport with drugs. So we read compelling stories. She used to read compelling stories to us. She also used to read anthropology books to us. So we knew about things that were outside of our territory.
Yeah.
We knew stories about people
You
in
had
America.
access.
You know, so we had access to information. And at that time, internet wasn't
not even a thing.
Yeah, like there was no computer that we were going to jump on and Google whatever.
Yeah.
Books were Google. So we had information about satellite dishes. So our mother used to tell us about satellites. Yeah, there's a thing called satellites.
This is our transmitter.
You mount it outside and then it transmits, and then you can watch over 50 channels. What? How? Tina starts with SABC 1, 2, and 3, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then ETV came later. So our mother was a forward thinker. She loved technology. Of course, we didn't have access to it. So the aspiration of getting the finest things and knowing the best was a push that we always got from our mother.
That's so beautiful.
Information is power. Information is power. Learn. If you don't know, ask. So education played a great part in our evolution.
Yeah.
Because our mother insisted that, you know, I won't be long on earth, but please ensure that you all get qualified.
Yeah. I mean, this is, even for your mom, so worldly of her to instill that. I really and I've interacted with a lot of your family here this weekend and yourself, and you know, there's something just so worldly about all of you, but also so authentic.
Yeah.
So I really, really love that. And I mean, 30 years of democracy today.
Yeah.
We are sitting and having this conversation on the other side of the world where we may have never accessed. What is your inheritance? What do you regard as your inheritance from South Africa's 30 years of democracy?
Wow, that's a beautiful question. In 2013, 10 years ago, I came up with a collection called My Heritage, My Inheritance. So the context of the theme was that technically the world is built on commodities that human beings leave you with after the past, and not really about intangibles that you can inherit from them. So technically, we didn't have much at home. So when our mother passed, we were not left with money. Yeah, we were not left with land. We were not left with cars and whatnot. She built a stable home with morals and a curriculum, your life. That was way more than enough for us to continue living. So we technically grew up in a childhood at home. So my old sister Uchina was 16, I was 15. Mangalisa, my young brother, was 14. Wilisha was 13. So our mother strictly said, no one must live here in this house with you guys because you guys must build a bond that you will use to grow and become adults. Even when you're adults, stick together so that you help each other achieve your aspirations, So we kept it like that.
That's dope.
Till this day, but the solid foundation that she created and also the morals and the anthropology that she taught us is what I acknowledge as the inheritance that we inherited from her. Like literally at work.
Yeah.
In our company, we employ about 300 people. We teach people on a daily basis about basic things.
You're an academic institution.
Basically.
You should be certified.
Yeah.
I like that.
We teach people about respecting each other. We teach people about etiquette. We teach people that when you pass a knife, you must pass it with the handle, not with the sharp side pointing at the person. Those are some of the things that have empowered me as an individual to elevate my business, because there's a bantu in life, they disappear and you don't know why, or you disappear from other people and they wonder why.
Yeah.
It's because of
the nuances.
If
values are not.
If values are aligned. So our mother was big on values, like big on etiquette, Like if you leave a table at dinner, put the chair back in. If you're having dinner, just put your elbows on the table and be casual, So
love that.
There are some powerful individuals that I've had chats with, journeys with along the way, So some have taken liking to what I do and have helped. I've had Abu Putnati,
Yeah.
So those type of bonds are key and important to me. I keep the relationships and make sure that Astaban, and
harness them.
Yeah, people often ask themselves, how do those brotherhood bonds happen? It's the morals that we inherited from my parents, and that help us build good relationships with other people. So we wanted to capture that in this store, Ubuntu, as we've extended in our stores, and also factory as well. Of course, that has pros and cons, because we've had bad incidents in the past where people take advantage of our humility.
Yeah.
But we've learned and
the boundaries.
The boundaries, but inheritance that I will pass over to my daughter. I'm a new father, by the way.
I know. And actually you're reading my notes because my next question was going to be, it's Father's Day today.
Yeah.
It's also South Africa's anniversary, 30 years of democracy, where youth, I was speaking to Ntsika earlier and he said they paid with their bodies to purchase us this opportunity.
Pave the way for us,
So, what dreams do you have for the world that you want your daughter to grow up in? With a lot, you reference your mother a lot, and I love that. I hope you speak to her often.
Yes. I want to gift my daughter my mother's philosophies and my mother's character, just in general, because she wasn't around. She's not had the opportunity to experience her.
Makulu,
Yeah, Naati as well. As I explained on Friday, that we later realized years after our mother's passing that our actual grandmother, our mother's mother, passed away in jail, serving a 10-year sentence for
Being an
being
entrepreneur, we'll call
prosecuted.
it.
Yeah, she was a cannabis entrepreneur.
And cannabis is legal now in certain parts, so she was pioneering in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, at Xhosa, we use cannabis freely, but sometimes I think back of the sacrifices that some of our grandparents had to make. Even my grandfather was in the cannabis business as well. He served 10 years in jail. And by the time he came out, we couldn't experience him to the maximum as a pillar of the family. So those are some of the experiences that I want to share to my daughter, so that she doesn't take things for granted
just because it's freely available.
Yeah, because it's freely available. Yes, she will be growing up. She's growing up to privilege, but by all means, I don't want my daughter to be spoiled.
Yeah, I think that'll never happen because humility is ingrained, and I, like I said, I experienced Lihle and other members of your family, and it's just who you guys are. It's not what you do. It's really who you are. 30 years from now, where do you see the brand?
I see the 30 years from now.
From now.
I thought you were saying 5 years from now.
30 years.
Yes, 30. I see it. I envision yachts in Cape Town with MAXHOSA decked out interior.
Beautiful.
Like they do in Monaco. I envision hotels, high-end hotels in Sandton that are MAXHOSA luxury hotels.
Interiors, okay.
I foresee multi-level boutiques in Dubai, Japan, in Ginza, in Harajuku. I envision MAXHOSA at Rodeo Drive.
Nice.
Right there next to Balmain or Louis Vuitton. I see us growing beyond just restriction of fashion, being an influence to African architecture, being an influence to medical space, being influenced to academic knowledge of our continent, being instrumental into anthropological archiving.
You are like...
Yeah, so actually the course that I did at St. John St. Martin's, a lot of people think that I did fashion there. I didn't do fashion at St. Martin's. I did a course called Material Futures. It's a course where you do speculative design for the future, but you have to design for 50 to 100 years ahead, because some speculations that are there is that people are not going to wear clothes in the future.
Wow.
Yeah.
So fashion may cease to exist.
Fashion may cease to exist. I mean, most of the things AI that is happening today, our Steve Jobs projected them, from 1984.
Sure.
They knew that there's going to be AI. Einstein projected things that we
are living today.
We'll be flying cars maybe in 10 years' time or 5 years' time. So it has challenged me a lot, that course, not to look at what is on the table right now, but rather focus on the future.
I love that so much. And what a beautiful fit for you, because what remains consistent with me as a sentiment and an essence that I get is that you're with us, you're here, but you're very, like I said, pioneering, you're a visionary. And it's the ability to not be intimidated by the fact that you will exist in the future.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. And I think as we close, what is your ultimate luxury?
My ultimate luxury is maximum care. We live in a world where people care less and are caring more less than they should. So when I say care, I think ultimately luxury is about care, So when you buy a Hermes bag, you're buying into the care that has been put in. The stitching has been done with maximum amount of care. The packaging, the leather, the way that the leather was sourced, the way that the bag was sold to you, so luxury for me has ultimately come to that definition in Dobana. We have to put extra care as a luxury brand into our service, into our space, into the ambience, as staff. We have to put maximum amount of care in our packaging. Yes, it comes at a cost most of the time. Sometimes you lose money, in order to
deliver that care.
To deliver that care. As they say, a promise made is a promise delivered. Yeah, that is my ultimate definition and ultimate definition of luxury, and not really the tangible that is in front of you, because tangibles are becoming obsolete.
Yeah.
There's the latest projection about luxury is that people are buying into experiences now.
Indeed.
And not material.
Indeed.
They will buy into your brand, into the material product initially, but
it's an entry point for a universe they want to immerse themselves
to be part of. Yeah,
I love that.
That's why customers get super excited when you invite them to fashion shows and events, and than they would when you sell them a new product. So yeah.
I love that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I hope
Thank you so much.
Tell yourself you're proud of yourself.
Yeah, I do pat my back.
Yes.
As you saw, the last final touches of the store was quite difficult, but I was like, yo, I'm patting myself for being a fighter, because that's what we're known for as South Africans. We are fighters.
We will stay fighting.
We'll stay fighting
to materialize these dreams and the responsibility of the visions and the prophecies we must deliver on while we are still in this.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Siyabulele.
Siyabulele.
Ilali yonke.